So to test these new lures, I have done something a little bit different, and in the process, I might have got myself into a little bit of trouble with Daiwa. So straight out of the gate, whenever I'm on my boat, my brain goes through a process every time I'm trying to choose a soft plastic. Firstly, as a default, I consider the 2.5 inch grub. Then if that's not working, I'll think small bait fish or minnow type profile. And then thirdly, into the equation comes the creature bait. Today in this video, we are looking at a new creature bait called the Risky Critter. It's named after a friend of mine, Kris Hickson, who goes by AKA Captain Risky. Now the plan was to fish these across a number of different states, but as you can see, COVID has me locked down. So I've decided to split every one of these packets that I've got in half and send the second half to a guest fisho slash YouTuber slash friend of mine. That way we get to test the lures in the outback setting and rural areas that I am, and where he lives in the middle of Sydney. Now I've also been a little bit cheeky. I didn't actually tell Daiwa that I was going to send their unreleased brand spanking new lures to somebody else to have a look at as well. I mean, they do now, but they didn't then. So one of the cool and exciting things about having another reviewer having a go at these lures is that he could outfish me. And, you know, no fisherman likes that one bit. Who do you reckon's gonna win?
Him.
Trust from the one. Now we've got around 4 weeks to get this content out, and that's around about 3 weeks of fishing and 1 week to edit, so we're up against the timeline here to be on time. But while those are in transit, let me go through the lures. So the Risky Critter is a soft plastic that is a 3-inch creature bait that comes in 12 colors. Now, naturally I'm drawn personally to those bloodworms and those greens, but I don't think there are many in the 12 colors that I don't personally like. There's some there for dirty water, there's some there for clean water, some will do great on freshwater species, and of course you've got the classics, the MotorOils, the bloodworms. In terms of a specific rundown, Daiwa did tell me a couple of things about the lures. Firstly, they are 3-inch in default, but like a lot of the bait junkie range, you can snip just behind the Daiwa logo here and go to like a 2.5. If you do that, the plastic does feel a little bit more like a gulp crabby-like shape, and honestly, I think it fits somewhere between the 2-inch and the 2.5-inch crab. It's not quite both of those, but I don't know, 2.25-inch creature bait kind of category. Secondly, the lure is designed to act and swim differently whether you're fishing with a lighter jig head or a heavier jig head. With lighter jig heads, say that 1/16 of an ounce or lighter, the side legs on the body are meant to move and kind of flutter in the water there, but the longer tentacles are not. The larger legs are only meant to move and flutter during the winding and the rod movement. And Daiwa reckons this is meant to create a more natural look. I guess if you consider most crustaceans on how they are in the water column, when they're dropping through the water column, they don't have like long dangly tails or bits that are making large amounts of movements. You get a lot of subtle kind of crab and leg movement as that crustacean moves through. Now, like I said before, I sent that stuff in the mail, and I'm going to introduce you to another YouTuber called Flick with Mick. Now, Mick and I are team members on the HWS team, and that mail should be getting to him about now, but he does have a YouTube channel, uploads every week, and I'm really excited to see what he has to say about these lures.
What do we have here? Few packets. Alright, interesting. 3-inch, not bad. Send me a few colours, so interesting. They got that same feel as the bait junkie range, so they're quite soft and stretchy, which is awesome. As far as looks goes, would work quite nicely on that slow sink around structure and all that sort of stuff with the land-based sort of thing that I'm doing. So yeah, keen to try it out. Not a bad looking creature bait there, right? Let's go. Cast. Oh, fish. Oh, good fish, man. Hey, that's a heavy fish. Could be a big trend. The way it's holding down, could be a big trend. Yeah, it is a big trend. How good is that? I don't have a net. I don't have a net. My goodness. Oh, you're kidding. You're kidding.
I'll snip the little love heart there. Hit. Dang. Well, we called it. We said they were off the edge, and here they are. This is gone nuts. I don't like it at all. Oh, she's got it. She's a nice, well done, good, and look at it. Good size, good little fish, hey? Have a look at her. Well, high to mid-30s brimbo. Might let this guy go, I reckon, eh? He's milked everywhere as well.
No fish on the drift that time. Got one. Got one. Had a bit of EP to it, but no. It's a good start though. It's a good start. Second flatty. Pretty sure it's another flatty. They are everywhere today. Skull drag flatty. There's definitely, oh yep, there's another one. That's a flatty. Mate, this is getting ridiculous with the flatties. That's like my 5th flatty. This guy's a bit darker. Potential brim. Flatty. Oh, better flatty. Someone had a go at it again. Could be a school of brim. Yeah, got him. Yeah, that's a good fish. That's a trip. It's not bad actually. So probably early 40s. I don't have my measurement with me. But yeah, great fish. Try better than that one, Byron. Nothing wrong with a bit of competition. Hey, Byron?
Yep. Nice fish. Nice and healthy fish. Alright. She's a good girl. Real long. Yep. Oh yeah.
Overall, my land-based session went quite well. Landed around 6 or 7 flatties, ran into a school of trevallies, and they also took a liking of it. At one stage in the middle of my session, I did trim it down to probably 2.5 to 2 inch, and I found that that worked quite well too. I would say preferably that would be better if you're going for brim, but the trevally and the flathead did not mind the 3-inch size at all, and the profiling is great. It's a creature bait, so if you are going to be throwing these, I would say throw it on the lightest jigget you can find, 1/28th, 1/20th, even a bit higher if there's no current. I would say they're definitely a pretty good plastic and probably one to keep in the tackle box in regards to throwing creature baits out. Back to you, Byron.
So big shout out to Mick for helping out there and throwing those lures at his Sydney local. I really appreciate the input, buddy. Now, if you're interested in grabbing a couple of packets of these and supporting the channel, maybe becoming a member, remember the affiliate links are below and the membership is there also. Of course, you don't have to do any of that, but it is an option if you want to support the channel and see this type of content grow. In terms of the lures though, from my perspective, I reckon there's 2 points that I'm going to address. I guess in a classic creature bait kind of way, the guys I was fishing with and I got all our fish tight against structure. In particular for us, it was sticks and logs and drop-offs on banks, but I did try and fish them on flats, but the fish were just simply preferring a Spike 44 or a hard body in those cases. I know I keep promising that video. I am hoping it is out this week also. I did rig them with a standard jig head to give that kind of traditional method a go, as well as going weedless with a weight and without a weight. And with a weight is how I caught most of my fish. I did get a great bass at Blue Rock using a jig, and I tied it on as a black trailer with a black jig. And while I spent a good minute in front of the GoPro trying to get the right photo, I would then come back later and then work out that the GoPro wasn't even on, so awesome. So broadly speaking, there are a couple of different ways to use a creature bait to catch fish, but I reckon there's two main that really work for me that are my go-tos. First of all, you want to really pitch them around structure, and I'm going to steal a little bit of Daiwa release footage here. You can see here on a light jig head, these guys are casting lures softly at fish that are feeding on that pontoon. The reason you want to cast softly and with a light jig head is so that when that lure hits the water, it doesn't make a giant splash and spook all of those fish that are in the area. And I guess that technique is really nice, generally in the mornings and the afternoons when the fish are up and high on that water column, on that piece of structure, whatever it is, pontoon or otherwise, and you're enticing something that is already eating to eat your lure. During the middle of the day though, when the sun is high and the shadows are down below that piece, you might find that the fish come off that structure and go to the bottom, and that's when you might consider a heavier jig head to let that creature bait just flutter all the way down to the bottom and then hit those fish that are in the mooring block or sitting in the shade of the boat, pontoon, pole, whatever it is that you're fishing. To me personally, 95% of the time I am fishing a 1/16 ounce jig head or lighter to make that presentation as light as possible. If the current's pumping, you might need to go a little bit heavier. Now, before I finish up with a couple of constructive points, here is the giveaway. So you need to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below on what your favorite creature bait to date is. Now, that means that it can't be this one here. I'm interested to see what creature baits you are currently choosing as your favorite. Give me your colors as well, but I'll announce it in a week. And a big shout out to Daiwa Australia for not only providing these lures for me to test, but then also providing one full set to give to one of you guys in 1 week's time. Now, constructively, because soft plastics do get beaten up in shipping, Daiwa Australia have again gone with a double clamshell around these creature baits to protect those little small arms and legs from being folded in transit. The issue here is that because of the physical size of the pack, you only now get 6 creature baits in a packet. Personally, I think I would have more liked 8 in the packet as opposed to 6, but I see why they've done it. I guess I would rather 6 good creature baits that I can use rather than 8 that have kind of been mangled up whilst they've been in transit. But still, I think that 8 would have been nice. So ultimately, from the clips that you've seen, the people that I fished with, Flick with Mick, and myself all got fish using these lures. I think the legs and the tentacles and the way they moved fit with what Daiwa Australia told me that they had designed, and thus they've done a good job at producing what they wanted to. I thought it was pretty cool, that natural finesse presentation where those big ones stayed like that, but the little ones were going... I'm not doing that again. The great news here is that the borders have just recently opened up, and I can't wait to use these things on my boat and pitch them over the Foster racks in particular, wind them over the top, just watch those little tentacles go, and then stop them as they come down on the other side of a set of racks. Remember the affiliate links and the giveaway if you're into that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.